Let's watch some Greg and Tim show clips.
So let's roll it for the topic of the day.
Okay, hooray. It's time for the topic of the day.
So topic of the day today, Tim, is the Winnipeg Jets National Anthem. We were out for our wings, as we spoke about earlier. The Jets played the
ribs. We had
ribs, right? We had ribs.
One gentleman got wings.
One gentleman.
The pepper one.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah.
The one Ben. There was two Bens. And the Jets played against the Colorado Avalanche. It was South Asian Night in Winnipeg. Was it South Asian Heritage? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, at the game.
Yeah, at the game. So South Asian Night at the game. So they were acknowledging the South Asian culture that comes to the games. And it's another reason for them to try to bring other fans into hockey, which is great. CBC/Sportsnet does the Punjabi call of the game, so they have two people who speak Punjabi that call the hockey games on Saturday nights. There's a big push for more cultures to get into hockey, so the Jets also do like a Philippine night, and then they have all these other different social nights for hockey. Hockey Fights Cancer, Armed Forces Night, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yep.
So the one thing that got people up on this game, though, is during the national anthem, for the Canadian National Anthem, it was sang half in English and a fair bit in Punjabi. Not a fair bit, I guess like 30% maybe in Punjabi. The question is, and it's all over Twitter and it's out there right now, is it right for people in Canada to sing the national anthem in a different language?
Right. So initially, when I first thought about this topic, I thought, well, what's the big deal? I know that it has been done before, not in by the way, what's the language called? It's not called Punjabi.
It's called Punjabi.
It's actually called Punjabi, sorry. Excuse my ignorance. But it's been done before, I think in Korea, Ojibwe, they've done for either the Bomber games or the Jet game, one of the two, the national anthem itself, right?
Yep.
So
it's been done in French, obviously, because French is the other national language.
It's not the first time, and it's a nice way to acknowledge other cultures. And again, we've gone over this last week, where more and more immigration is coming from these kinds of countries. And if you're the Winnipeg Jets and you're averaging 13,000 seats, and you have 2,000 empty seats, you want to try to be inclusive because you want people coming to the games, and the more they can get a larger pool of people, the better off they are.
Yeah.
And a simple way to acknowledge people and to make them feel, I mean, this is all inclusive, right?
Yeah.
This is inclusiveness. It's making sure that everyone feels like we are one, whether you're from this culture, that culture. And so why not do some of the national anthem in that culture's native tongue? What's the issue? What's the problem with that?
Yeah. So I don't think that there's a huge problem with the Jets acknowledging the different cultures, bringing the cultures into the games. So, for instance, they brought in a band that played their traditional music. They played their traditional music during the game. They brought in a lot of that culture into the game. I don't think there's any problems with that. I think the main concern is when you change the national anthem to be in a language that's no longer in one of the two national languages of Canada, right? So the national languages of Canada are English and French.
Yeah.
Canada was founded by the English and French. I understand that there's a whole other backstory to it, and I don't want to get into all the politics of that. But in general, Canada was founded by the English and French in terms of settlements and growing the population.
Colonialism, etc.
Exactly. One example of how I think this was done correctly was at the Bomber game, when the Bombers actually had it was the Ukrainian night for the Bombers, and the Bombers actually had a Ukrainian choir singers sing the Ukrainian national anthem during the game.
Right.
They did not sing they didn't sing the Canadian National Anthem.
Right.
They sang the Canadian National Anthem in English, and then they sang the Ukrainian National Anthem. The only thing I think they did wrong with that was they should have sang the Ukrainian National Anthem first, followed by the Canadian National Anthem.
Right.
Just like you do that in any other sport. You sing the visiting or the secondary national anthem first, and the home national anthem always is the one right before the sporting event.
Right.
This also comes down to like your question.
So the anthem in general.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the anthem. Let's talk about the anthem. Plus, let's talk about the two language, our two official languages, French and English, right?
Yeah.
How important, the importance that we place on the national anthem.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do feel that Canadians in general are a little bit
less patriotic
than, let's say, the Americans, which some would argue is a good thing, some would argue is a bad thing.
Yeah.
But how sacrosanct is that national anthem to you? Is it the be all and end all of everything? And you brought up a good point that, you know, when Americans stand for the national anthem, it signifies something different than when we do it.
Yeah. So when we were in Minneapolis for the baseball games, they stand for the national anthem. They'll have their hats over their hearts. They will have a soldier there, a representative. They actually, at the Jays playoff game, had a American and Canadian soldier there to represent during the national anthems.
Well, forget during the national anthem. If you're at a sporting event in the U.S. and it's during the middle of the second quarter, you know, at a 0-0 game, and they even put the camera at a soldier,
they start cheering.
People start not cheering, standing, clapping.
Yeah.
The reverence is just different.
Yeah.
And again, you know, a lot of Canadians will argue negatively about the Americans that they, you know, are too patriotic. They only think of themselves, et cetera, et cetera. But this goes specifically to the anthem. The Americans take it more seriously than we do.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it appears to me.
I think Americans take their patriotism. They take their patriotism more seriously.
So,
because like, even if I'm looking for tickets in some of the games, there's a veterans or a military discount for their tickets, whereas in Winnipeg, you don't get a veteran military discount for tickets.
Well, you do actually in Winnipeg. There is military discounts. I know Raina got last night. She got,
but just not on Ticketmaster. Like you can't go on Ticketmaster and go, I'm a military veteran.
Right. There are more discounts in the States, but
yeah,
a lot more retail in the States too. That's a different issue.
Yeah, retail discounts are big in the States for military.
So. Secondly, the importance of the national anthem in general.
Yeah.
And we can go back to the first topic if you'd like, if we didn't spend enough time on it. But secondly, the importance of national anthem in general is, you know, why do we sing the national anthem before every single game? This was an issue when we had the whole kneeling Colin Kaepernick issue.
Mm-hmm. Where they
5,
were
6,
actually
7 years ago.
To get rid of national
It's like, why do we give the opportunity to make a political statement during a game in the first place?
Yeah.
Why does an anthem have to be sung all the time? Preseason game, you know, it doesn't matter what it is, high school game. Why before every? I'm not saying it's not important to do in general, but every single game. Why?
So I'm going to play a clip right now from a guy named Eric Burns. I think he explains it in the most patriotic way of an American. And then after that, we'll chat about that.
So I ran across an Instagram post from The Athletic just a few minutes ago that got me all excited. So I figured I'd hop on No Filter Network so we could discuss. The post was a quote from hockey writer Ian Mendes, who wrote, "The national anthem should be reserved for moments that evoke genuine feelings of national pride." The Athletic went on to write, after 2 botched anthems at NHL games this week, it's time to ask the question, why do we play the national anthem before sporting events? Well, I felt so inclined to comment below and answer that question. We play the national anthem to honor the men and women who have died for our country, protecting the freedom and government structure that allows these games to be played. It's also a form of reflective gratitude that unfortunately many self-entitled, ungrateful just don't get. Look, I understand. The Athletic and Ian, they have their right to their opinion when or if the national anthem should ever be played. But on behalf of the servicemen and women who have fought and continue to fight for our freedom to be able to play these sporting events, I'd just like to send a quick message to Ian and the Athletic.
So basically he's saying it's to honor men and women
Right.
that fought for their country. And it's also a form of gratitude
Right.
for the fact that you can participate in going to sporting events. You can participate in going to these types of things because of the men and women that fought for your country.
Right.
And it's a patriotism in that form. Ian Mendez from The Athletic stated in his article that he thinks the national anthem should only be sang for genuine feelings of national pride.
Right.
So excluding sports, essentially.
Well, so
there's a big
some
article
sporting
in The
events
Athletic
can
about it.
be very prideful,
Mhm.
but every game, like a massive game, a semifinal game in the NFL,
So
whatever, Stanley Cup Finals. Before, reserve it because it's more special for the special events. I suppose, right?
okay, so let's say that. Let's say reserve it so it's more special. You're basically saying now that the national anthem is special.
Right.
So, do you think, going back to the first point, that the Jets should have allowed the national anthem to be sung in a language that was not a national language of Canada?
Right.
I guess that's a question.
Yeah.
If you don't want to give your personal feelings on that, feel free to comment in the comments below if you think that was something that was appropriate.
It all boils down to, on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is the national anthem to you as a Canadian citizen?
Yeah.
And is it less important than the equivalent person in the United States? Like, how important is "O Canada" to you?
Yeah.
How important is it? 1,
To me, it's
10,
important.
7. Where does it fall?
Like, my great-grandfather was in the military, and I know that there's people that are in the military that gave it all, or at least as much as they possibly could, to keep our freedoms.
Yeah.
So I think the national anthem is important, and I think it's important to keep it in the language of, I'll say it, English and French. I have no problem with the Cree version of it because, again, they are founding people of Canada. I don't believe that it should be in any other version for the same reason why I don't think the German national anthem, the Ukrainian national anthem, the Russian national anthem, the Indian national anthem, I don't think that any of those should be sung outside of their national language. So if English is not their national language, I don't think there should be an English version of their national anthem.
Okay. Last part of this topic, French as the secondary official language of Canada.
Yeah.
Do you remember back when we were in school, we were told over and over, you must know French.
Yeah.
It's important to know French.
Yeah.
If you're ever going to get a job in the government, you need to know French. And that could be still the case for government positions. I'm not sure.
A lot of government positions, I think you still need to it, but I don't believe for airline positions anymore.
So it seems like as we have immigration has come to Winnipeg, Canada, specifically from other countries, it seems that French as a language that you should or need to know has diminished. Am I correct or incorrect in that assumption?
I think you might be correct in the assumption, but I do believe that there is a good population of Winnipeg that send their kids to French immersion schools because they value the two languages.
Right.
And they value it to the point where it will help those people. It may not be required anymore, but it definitely is looked at as something that's very important to those people.
It would be interesting to see how the French immersion places in schools have changed in the last decades.
The numbers and stuff.
Because I don't know. It's just something that I haven't heard in forever, and maybe that's because I'm not in school. But that's how it appears to me, but I could be wrong on that.
Hey, thanks for watching the Greg and Tim Show clips. Remember, you can subscribe right here. This guy, boom, boom. I'm doing one side. It doesn't work either way. And then there's another episode here, and there's one in front of Tim. Just press this episode or press this episode, whichever one, or subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode or the next clip, whatever you decide to watch.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.